What up, family? It is Twilight. Today's topic is why the narcissist keeps hurting you. Okay, first of all, there are many reasons, but I'm going to hit on the core reason that I think a lot of people have a trouble with digesting. And it is very hard for them to see this because when it comes to narcissistic behavior, especially when the person is a close family member or they are a lover or they are someone who you feel close to, you can't separate who you are from who they are. People have a really hard time with this, especially spiritual people, because of the mantra that we are all one. That mindset can be a little bit problematic because it needs to be broken down a bit more. We all come from collective consciousness. Anything that's happening in this world exists in collective consciousness. But there are uploads going to collective consciousness, then there are downloads going to collective consciousness. So just because something exists in collective consciousness does not mean we have to interact with it. We get the power to choose what we choose to interact with. As humans, we absolutely have light and dark in us. But we have the power of choice. That's what this whole third dimensional experience is about. To come here, to make choices, to understand self better. If you make the choice that you do not want to interact with your lower nature, and another person makes the choice that they feel that it is more logical to interact with their lower nature given the environment that they are in, that is their damn choice. You make the choice not to do it, then that's your choice too. But because it exists in collective consciousness does not mean we have to embrace it. It only means that it exists. So we are one because we all come from one source. But we are not necessarily needing to be in connection with one another. Sometimes it's just meant for you to look at another person's situation, the way they carry themselves, and learn from it. It's not necessarily meant for you to become involved and engaged and enmeshed in what they're doing. It doesn't mean you let anyone into your space, because those people can be problematic and have you interacting more with a negative part of yourself. So therefore, we all have choices in this world. That's the one thing that human consciousness affords us, choices, right? So regardless of if I have a dark side and a light side, it's about what I choose to interact with most. Exposing the dark side in me doesn't mean shit. I'm human. I have a dark side. Duh. But the problem is that people don't understand that we have a choice. If I don't choose to interact with that part of myself as much as another individual may choose to interact with that part of themselves, that's my choice. Honor my choice. So therefore, those who can't be in my life and honor the choice that I have made to live my life in the light, those are individuals who have to be removed from my life simply because their agenda and my agenda are not the same, and their agenda actually is very much so detrimental to my agenda. So now that we're clear on that, choices is all we have. Whether or not we each have light and dark in us doesn't matter. It is all about the choice that you make. So with a narcissist, they made a choice. They choose to interact more with their lower levels. They choose that. Now, here's what I want to be very clear about. We can go on and on about narcissism, and a lot of people don't truly understand what it is. It is not about being vain. Just because someone thinks they're the shit and they think that they are the best thing since sliced bread does not make them a narcissist. You actually have to have a combination of things. You have to be willing to exploit people to get your needs met. You have to be feeling entitled to things to get your needs met. And you also have to have the emotional reasoning skills of damn near an infant to be a narcissist. So you need those particular components in place. You need to be entitled. You have to think that you are the best thing since sliced bread. Yes. You have to think that people should treat you special. Yes. You have to think that you are absolved of any real responsibility because everything you do is justified. Yes. But you also have to spend time projecting onto others. A narcissist could be a drunk, and they could see somebody that they love drinking wine, and then they could just have a whole emotional episode. You drink too much and all you do is drink, and you need to go to AA. But at the same time, it's their own shame that's killing them, that's causing them to project onto the other person. And the other person is sitting there like, what the fuck are you talking about? I just had 2 glasses of wine. No, you drink too much. Because they're feeling shame about their own drinking habits. So narcissists are ridden with shame, so they operate in a different consciousness. They choose to interact with their lower levels of consciousness simply because of the wounded person that they are on the inside, and everything about them is egoistic. You keep getting hurt because you can't understand a mindset like that. A lot of people who deal with narcissistic individuals cannot understand a mentality like that. And here's the thing, you don't have to understand it. You just have to know it exists. That's one thing. People think that they need to comprehend it and figure it out and make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. That's why you keep getting hurt, because you can't make sense of a mindset that is so diligent about getting what they want from people. For example, everything could be chill between you and your so-called narcissistic lover, parent, or friend. Then all of a sudden, they decide that they hate you today, and they're picking with everything that you do, and they're projecting onto you, and it's just terrible. And you're wondering, why is it like this? Because the other day, everything was cool. There was no rhyme or reason for this particular behavior. What you must understand is that a narcissist does not think in terms of when things are harmonious and beautiful and we are all working together, that life is good. That's your thinking, okay? That's your thinking. Accept that. Come to terms with that. Their thinking is hierarchical. If I'm not winning, life ain't good. If I can't win the argument, if I can't win the fight, some of the most pettiest, trivial shit they have to win in, or they're not happy. Now, what happens when a narcissist is named for their troubling behavior? They become covert. Okay, they're still thinking on the same level of I gotta win no matter what. Okay, because life does not matter to them unless they are winning, unless they the head honcho, unless they are the one on top. Okay, so with that said, when they are thinking like this, they go covert. Now, what that then entails is very manipulative, deceitful tactics. So when you're saying to yourself, okay, me and Narcissist Bay is cool. I did what they asked. I'm quiet. I'm doing what they want me to do. And then next thing I know, they're just having an episode on me. That's because whole time they just went into covert mode. They just went into a mentality of, okay, I'm going to make them think that everything is good. I'm going to make them think that everything is okay. Just because either A, they want to save face. They're really big on their public image. Or B, they want you to think that everything is fine and dandy so that they can get your guard down so they can come with their next level of abuse. You understand me? So you have to think of like a warmongering soul who is always looking for a new opportunity to pad their ego by winning in some type of way. They don't think like you, honey. So when you are sitting around saying to yourself, loving you is easy because you're beautiful, and you're sitting around and you're happy and things are going well between you and your narcissistic friend, parent, lover, whomever, the whole time they sitting around thinking about their next win. And that's how their mind works. They're always on the war path. They're always on war mode. They're always looking for the next opportunity to showcase how big, bad, and top notch they are. But here's one thing. They need you to believe that they don't think like that. They need you to believe that they are actually capable of human reasoning skills. They love that. They do need that. That's one big component. They will feed off of your naivety. They will feed off of your inability to truly, fully understand that they aren't shit like you. Okay. And they will feed off of the social construct in your mind that everyone can change and everyone can be different. That's not the case. Everyone cannot change. Everyone cannot be different. Sometimes what happens is we in human consciousness want people to be good for so long that we just see it. We see the good in them because that's what we want to see. So we make that the highlight of what we see. We tend to ignore whatever is negative and then totally fixate ourselves on whatever is positive. And there can be very, very little positive, but because it's some positive, we try to fixate on it and we expand that positivity in an abnormal way, in which case it's not really happening. It's just all in our head. So whenever you're dealing with a narcissist, you need to think in one way: war or cold war. Cold wars are silent. It's quiet for a while, but that doesn't mean that there's peace. See, you're getting confused because it's quiet. Quiet don't mean peace. Quiet means quiet. That's it. Okay? These warmongering souls are never at peace because they don't internally possess peace within themselves. They're dealing with an immense amount of shame and an ego that they project out into the world because they're so ashamed of who they really are on the inside, which is generally a deeply wounded, shattered individual who's hurting beyond a measure of understanding. And you can't get close enough to them because they got a false ego in a way that's like Debo, Kimbo Slice, and Freddy Cougar put together. So imagine trying to come up against Debo, Kimbo Slice, and Freddy Cougar and trying to find the internal part of that person that makes them human. It's not going to happen. They got their guards up so high, you would never know. So all the time, they're morphing into new versions of them, their self-image, in order to keep you off their scent. Now, if you are a perceptive human being and you understand that they're not going to change, you can move forward and heal yourself. Because that's the problem. A lot of people get in these narcissistic relationships. These parasitic entities have attached into you. You can't release them because you're so afraid and ashamed that you're going to look stupid walking out of a relationship that you've invested so much in. And this person actually turned out not to be any of the things that you thought that they were. So because of this feeling of potentially being embarrassed or potentially having to accept that your mom or dad is not who you thought they was, or potentially having to accept that your friend is not really who you thought they was, or potentially having to accept that your boss is so toxic you have to leave the job. All of these things are things that we have a hard time coming to terms with because we think they say something about ourselves. It don't say shit about us. What it says is that we think that people are good people initially. And we want to give people the benefit of the doubt initially. And maybe we hold on too long to the point where we end up really truly doing something hurtful and detrimental to ourselves initially. But as long as you muster up the strength to make the decision to let go, then you can move forward and heal yourself. Finally, that's the reason why myself personally, when I was dealing with a narcissist, I never took him back. No matter how much he said he changed, I went to therapy, I see the light, naski, as my younger brother would say. The reason why that was naski is because I understood that now this is a new opportunity for him to win. For him to win me over and win me back says, all the emotional abuse I was giving her, she must have deserved it. And she knows she must have deserved it. And she knows she's not worthy of anything else. So therefore, I win again. So once you understand their core thinking is about winning and not about harmony and not about what's right and wrong, you will be more empowered in your decision making. This is Twilight saying peace, healing, love yourself. God damn. Love yourself.